everyone, Princess Alethea Contis here with my bestest friend in the whole wide world, Princess Casey.
Hi!
And today we are going to talk about the fairy tale East of the Sun, West of the Moon.
A Norwegian story.
Yes, it was in the Andrew Lang Blue Fairy Book. Once upon a time,
there was a young girl who was very poor, very poor. And one day, a white bear came and knocked on her family's door. It regularly happens. I think it happened on a Thursday.
It was a Thursday, specifically a Thursday. It was a large family. They were all very poor, but very beautiful.
Norwegian. Was it a polar bear?
Probably.
We should research that. The polar bear said, "Oh, I would love to marry your youngest daughter."
Yes, because the youngest, of course, was the prettiest
beautiful.
of all.
Oh, the prettiest one. And she said no.
No, the father said, first I have to ask my daughter.
Thank God, because a lot of times the dad is just like, "Oh, sure, have her." But at least like the dad is like, "Oh, I'll give her a choice. Would you like to marry a polar bear?"
She says no.
He's at the door. He'd like to marry you.
No, thank you.
No, I wouldn't, Dad. No.
The dad is very persuasive and says, look, if you marry this white bear, your family's really going to be taken care of. Please, would you do this for your family?
And the poverty is really emphasized in this story, that she has to mend her rags before she goes.
And how little she has when she leaves to go off on all these journeys. It's mentioned a lot.
Oh, academic moment. In a way, this is a real act of heroism. A lot of fairy tales where women are powerless and are forced to marry beasts because of their fathers. They don't really have a choice. In this moment, we have a father who wants to give his daughter a choice, and she makes the choice to marry a polar bear.
From the beginning, she's a hero.
She's a hero.
And she has no name, so we will call her she.
She's every woman.
I'm every woman!
The next Thursday, he comes.
Yay, it's Thursday! He gets on the bear's back and he takes her back to his castle where she has everything her wonderful heart desires.
It's magical.
Roses.
Oh, there's roses
everywhere. And she has beautiful dresses, and every night...
no one to eat dinner with, because it's like magic servants.
Right.
Little Beauty and the Beast
I'm
feel.
sure there was a talking clock and a candlestick.
She's lonely, but at night.
Every night, this man slips into bed next to her, and she can't see what he looks like because it is so super dark. He's definitely not a polar bear, and she suspects, but she doesn't know. Apparently he doesn't snore, and it's very pleasant, so she spends the night, and they're very happy.
They're snuggling in Norway.
Eventually, after time...
She's lonely.
She misses her giant
She's
family.
worried about her sisters. She has sisters. How many? 7?
It didn't say. It just said a very large, beautiful
Many sisters.
family.
She misses her sisters. Who wouldn't miss their sisters? They miss their sisters. She says, "Polar bear, please, I would like to go home and see my family. I miss them."
You can, but don't let your mother talk to you.
Your mom's going to try to get you alone. She's going to tell you something that's going to ruin everything.
Mothers have the power to do anything. So how long do you think that lasts?
Her mother says, "Honey, I need to talk to you alone."
No, Mom! No, Mom, no!
"Honey, I need to talk to you alone." Okay. She goes up and her mom says, "Tell me what's happening." At night,
this man slips into bed next to me, and I don't know who he is. He must be a troll, and that's why it's dark, because he doesn't want you to know. I'm going to give you this candle. Take it with you. And when it's dark, light the candle and find out whether or not you are in bed with a troll. And if you are, what? Run away? I mean,
kill him.
That wasn't part of the bargain. Academic moment.
Yes, academic moment. In Cupid and Psyche, which is an obvious literary precursor of this story, Cupid's sisters convince her that she's sleeping with a monster and that they give her a dagger and tell her that she needs to kill the monster while he's asleep. There is this idea of danger, that she's supposed to suspect her husband and not trust him, which is thematic, because there's this notion of, where do your loyalties lie when you get married? Are they with the family that you've left, or are they with the man that you've married? And that's a hard question for many women today.
You're all going to get an A on your paper now. She goes back, and he slips into bed next to her, and she waits until he falls asleep, and then she lights the candle. And who is lying next to her but the most beautiful man she has ever seen? And if you recall the video that I did about my first fictional loves, PJ Lynch drew in his copy of East of the Sun, West of the Moon one of the most beautiful illustrations of a prince I have ever seen in my life. I fell in love with an illustration. Okay, this guy is gorgeous.
He's so gorgeous that she thinks she's going to die if she doesn't kiss him right away.
She's just going to die.
She does.
And in leaning over,
the wax on the candle,
drips on his shirt.
His shirt.
This is very important that it drips on his shirt.
It's a symbol of sin.
It's also just a dirty shirt.
It's wax. And how do you get wax off a shirt? That's a challenge. Scraping?
We'll have to look that up on I'm sure
Someone
there's a YouTube
clean.
video.
Oh, maybe a viewer can give a suggestion for
in
cleaning
the comments.
wax. Yes, okay, I'd love to know. So she drops the wax and he wakes up and says,
ouch.
He says, oh my God, you've ruined it. If we had just lived together happily for a year, the curse would have been broken.
That's right. Now I have to go marry a troll.
But you didn't trust me.
With a nose that is 3 L's long. Now an L, we looked up, E-L-L, is
a unit of measurement.
A unit of measurement that is the length of a man's arm. So, yeah.
Longer than Alethea's arm.
About, what, 3 feet?
3 feet long.
So 3 L's would be 9 feet. That is a very long. No, we're talking.
Maybe you could wrap it around your
beyond
wrist.
Pinocchio here.
Could you put a bow on it?
He vanishes off to this castle. She knows not where.
He's run away.
So she begins.
Does she cry? No.
No, she's never afraid.
She's heroic.
This girl is never afraid of anything, and she decides to hunt down
the man she loves. Like the prince who goes on a quest to rescue the lost maiden.
Only this time she goes on a quest, and we were a big fan.
We're a big fan. The prince is vulnerable. He's been captured by a monster. He's in a tower. She has to rescue him. Oh.
In her questing, she encounters 3 old women who give her gifts, much like the evil stepmother who dresses up as an old woman and gives 3 gifts to Snow White. In this fairy tale, the gifts actually aid her quest, but in Snow White, they are used to try and kill
their wicked
Snow White. And in this fairy tale, they are an apple and a comb and a spindle. Spinning
something
wheel.
With cloth.
Yeah, something to do with cloth.
Just like Snow White has the ribbons,
Spinning
the bodice
wheel.
laces.
She takes all these things with her and then goes and asks the east wind, the south wind, the west wind, and finally the north wind to find out if they know how to get to east of the sun and west of the moon.
And they blow her. And she rides the wind.
The north wind says, as a matter of fact, I do know where that is, but it's really far away and I can barely get there on my own strength. So hop on my back and I will take you.
Then the north wind carries her to the land east of the sun and west of the moon. Ready? Did you make a wish?
No. There's one left.
Quick, make a wish, make a wish. She did it.
Yay. She lands at this castle.
It's magical. Everywhere, nowhere. East of the sun, west of the moon. Could you get to it?
It's a happy nowhere place you cannot find on the map at all. They will not let her in the castle, so she sits outside the princess's garden.
With her fancy golden object.
Whichever golden object they start with,
An
I can't
apple.
remember. And she throws the apple and it catches the sun and it looks all beautiful. And the troll princess says, I want that.
She does. Young woman says, well, you can have it if you let me sleep with your fiancé for the night.
And of course, since she's a troll, I guess she says, sure, why not? Just give me the apple. Every night, the girl goes and sleeps next to her true love, but he will not wake up.
The troll girl is not as dumb as she looks. She's given him a sleeping potion in his nightly wine. She sobs over him and shakes him and says, I love you, please
and
wake
he
up.
won't wake up.
He's the sleeping beauty.
So the
she can't wake
third
him
night,
up.
before the third night, there are some people who are apparently some lovely Christian folk who are imprisoned next door.
Just trapped.
I guess they sort of knock on the window or knock on the wall and
Wake
they're like, die. There is this woman who comes into your room every night. She cries and shakes and wails and everything trying to wake you up. You may want to not, I don't know, eat or drink anything tonight. So he doesn't. And lo and behold, she comes in and he sees her and they're happily
Reunited and it feels so good. It's very romantic.
They make a plan.
They make a plan.
The plan is that he is going to announce he will only marry whoever can wash his shirt. This kind of drives me nuts because she has sacrificed for her family, quested across the entire world to find this guy.
She's talked with these 3 old women who could represent the 3 fates.
That's right.
Who gets to do
and
that?
now she can't have him until she
does
his
laundry. His laundry.
Troll.
The dog is barking. He doesn't like that she has to do his laundry.
He knows that the troll is never going to be able to get the stain out of his shirt.
She can't
We don't
do
even know how to get the. Obviously, we
how.
must be trolls, and our noses are gonna grow really long. He announces this the next day, and the troll attempts to clean the shirt, and it only just gets worse and worse and worse and worse.
Dirtier.
So this young woman
Bad at laundry.
comes up and says, "I can do it," and dips his shirt. That's all she does is dip his shirt in the water. We're going to find this magical potion. And lifts it out, and not only is it clean, it's whiter than it's ever been.
Driven snow.
Been
a
the
symbol
first
of her inner goodness.
Ad for Clorox or something.
Yeah.
They free all the lovely Christian folk.
The trolls are so angry.
That's right. The trolls are so angry.
Explode. Just like Rumpelstiltskin ripping himself in half.
Burst.
They burst.
And we assume that all of the other trolls burst as well because we just haven't seen them since.
They disappear.
Before they leave, because they're not going to keep this castle, this beautiful castle in the middle of nowhere.
It's in the middle of nowhere.
They free all the Christian folk, then they loot the castle.
Loot the castle.
Like you do.
And they take, suddenly there's a ship.
and they take the ship back home.
Yes.
And then they live
Happily ever after.
Thank you so much for joining me for another fairy tale rant in this beautiful, lovely day in Charlotte, North Carolina with my beautiful best friend, who I love so much. And I will see you guys next week. And now we blow kisses.
Do you wish to go east of the sun or west of the moon?
A little bit.